The boat defeated 30 experts, but one poor dad solved what no one else could. The boat had beaten everyone. Engineers, professors, lifelong sailors, 30 experts stood on the dock shaking their heads as the small, stubborn vessel bobbed in the water like it was mocking them. Millions of dollars, months of work, and endless confidence had all failed. People whispered that the problem was impossible. Then a poor dad stepped forward. He didn't have a degree. He didn't have money. All he had was a quiet heart, rough hands, and a reason to care more deeply than anyone else there. Before we begin, take a moment to support the channel that brings you stories like this. Subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. This is Kindness Story Hub, where simple acts of kindness turn into unforgettable stories. The trouble began in a small coastal town in the Pacific Northwest. Fishing boats were the lifeblood of the place. Families depended on them, kids grew up on docks, and the smell of salt and diesel was part of everyday life. When a new high-tech rescue boat was donated to the town, everyone celebrated. It was meant to save lives during storms and emergencies, but the boat had a problem. Every time it launched, it tilted dangerously to one side. Not enough to sink, but enough to make it unsafe. 30 experts were flown in over 3 months. Naval architects, marine engineers, even a famous professor from a top university. They ran tests, used computers, added weights, removed parts, argued, and blamed one another. Nothing worked. Each failure hurt more than pride. Without the boat, rescue missions were delayed. Fishermen went out knowing help might not come in time. Anxiety spread through the town like fog. Watching all this from a distance was a man named Daniel Reed. Daniel was a single father. His wife had passed away years earlier, and he raised his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, on his own. He worked 2 jobs, cleaning boats at the marina during the day and stocking shelves at night. He was always tired, always worried, always counting dollars, but Daniel had grown up around boats. His father had been a fisherman, not an engineer. Daniel learned by watching, listening, and feeling how the water moved. He never thought of it as knowledge. It was just life. Every afternoon, after school, Lily sat on the dock while Daniel scrubbed hulls. They watched the experts argue near the rescue boat. Why can't they fix it? Lily asked one day. Daniel shrugged. Sometimes people forget to listen. Listen to what? Daniel smiled softly. The water. The boat. They'll tell you what's wrong if you pay attention. Lily looked at him like he was talking about magic. One cold morning, the experts announced they were done. The boat would be sent back to the manufacturer. The town would be without a rescue vessel for at least another year. People were crushed. As the group packed up their equipment, Daniel stood nearby holding a mop. He hesitated, heart pounding. He knew how this looked. A poor dock worker questioning professionals, but he thought of Lily. He thought of the fisherman. He thought of kindness, not as politeness, but as courage. He stepped forward. Excuse me, Daniel said quietly. No one heard him at first. Excuse me, he said again, louder this time. A few heads turned. One engineer frowned. Yes? Daniel swallowed. I might be wrong, but could I take a look? There was an awkward silence. Some laughed under their breath. One man said, "Do you have credentials?" Daniel shook his head. No, sir. Just experience. The lead engineer sighed, clearly tired. We've tried everything. I know, Daniel said gently. That's why I'm asking. For a moment, kindness made a difference. The engineer saw not arrogance, but sincerity. He shrugged. 5 minutes. Daniel climbed into the boat. He didn't touch any tools. He didn't open any panels. He simply sat, closed his eyes, and rocked slightly as the boat floated. The dock went quiet. He ran his hand along the side, then moved toward the back. He asked for a small bucket of water and poured it slowly along the deck, watching how it flowed. After a few minutes, he stood up. The weight isn't the problem, he said. It's the balance of movement. When the boat hits waves, the fuel shifts too fast to the left. An engineer scoffed. The fuel tank is centered. Yes, Daniel replied. But the baffles inside are angled wrong. They're fighting the current, not flowing with it. The experts stared at him. Change the angle, someone asked, or add flexible flow plates, Daniel said. Cheap ones. Let the fuel move with the boat, not against it. Silence, then one engineer whispered, that actually makes sense. They tried it. Not because they fully believed him, but because they had nothing left to lose. By sunset, the boat was back in the water. This time, it floated straight. Calm. Steady. When they pushed it into waves, it held firm. The dock exploded in cheers. Someone clapped Daniel on the back. Another shook his hand. The lead engineer approached him slowly. You just solved a problem 30 of us couldn't, he said. Why didn't you speak up earlier? Daniel looked down. Didn't think anyone would listen. The town threw a small celebration that night. There was food, laughter, and gratitude. Someone tried to hand Daniel an envelope with money that he refused. Give it to the rescue fund, he said. Or help another family. Word spread. A week later, Daniel was offered a job as a consultant. The pay was more than he'd ever earned, but the real change happened at home. Lily hugged him that night and said, "You were brave." Daniel smiled. "No, sweetheart. I was kind. Kind enough to believe I could help." The rescue boat went on to save lives that winter. Fishermen came home to their families. Storms still came, but hope came with them, and Daniel kept cleaning boats, at least for a while. Because kindness, to him, wasn't about being seen. It was about showing up when it mattered. This story isn't just about a boat or a poor dad. It's about listening. It's about humility. It's about making space for voices we often ignore. Kindness doesn't always look like charity. Sometimes it looks like letting someone speak. Sometimes it looks like believing in quiet wisdom. So the next time you think your voice doesn't matter, remember this: the world has been changed before by people with no titles, no money, and no spotlight, only a kind heart and the courage to step forward, and maybe, just maybe, your kindness will solve something no one else could.